It's no secret that Houston police are understaffed and wait times for certain calls can be long.
Knowing that, how would you feel about more than 450 visits by Houston police to one location in a 12-month period? That's the reality at an apartment building in Montrose, and people nearby say it is necessary based on the ongoing problems they've had for years.
13 Investigates' Micah Hatfield learned that the city of Houston filed a nuisance lawsuit against that property today.
This lawsuit lays out a laundry list of crimes that Houston police say they've been able to link back to residents of 1901 Richmond and non-residents of the apartment building who were on the property, including aggravated robbery, aggravated assault, drug dealing, arson, and more. We spoke to a business owner in the area prior to the lawsuit being filed who questioned who's looking out for him. He says he, other business owners and residents in the area have all become victims of this apartment building.
It's
an epicenter of activity.
And it's been a problem since day one.
It's 1901 Richmond, a 43-unit apartment building in Montrose owned by Fat Property. With boarded doors and windows, some of those that aren't boarded are broken. Fed up is not strong enough of a term to use for how business owners in the immediate area feel about the daily activity in and around the property, and what they say is a lack of effort to stop it. Business owners described to 13 Investigates that they've seen instances of drug trafficking, prostitution, theft, filth, and more. Mohammed Rahman was the owner of the now shuttered Texas Pizza and Grill in the neighboring strip center. It closed last year after 18 years in business. Was that a hard decision for you to make, to close it after all these years?
Oh yes, it is. It took me 3 months to accept the fact.
Policeman.
He says the activity from 1901 Richmond that bleeds into the parking lot where his pizza shop was killed the business. As customers turned to other restaurants, he believes because they didn't want to be harassed at his, he tried what he could to keep the doors open, laying off his staff and working more than 10 hours a day alone, but it wasn't enough. Now he drives Uber for up to 15 hours a day.
People have a lot of choice. Why they have to come right here and suffer?
13 Investigates wanted to see the scope of the problem. Through requests, we learned that since 2020, there have been at least 250 visits per year by Houston police to the property. That number ballooned last year with 446 visits by HPD to 1901 Richmond. Many were self-initiated calls. One HPD call was for a double shooting last November. In a 2-year period, the medical examiner's office recorded 3 deaths related to drugs on the property, and that does not include people who were taken to the hospital and died there. We found 40 311 cases since mid-2023. On multiple occasions, violations were noted by Houston Public Works for unsafe conditions and not having the proper permits.
I do think that building takes more than its fair share of resources.
Chris Heisinger's telescope store, Land, Sea, and Sky, is far more niche than the pizza shop. So far, it's survived, but he says not without problems.
It's a 3-foot piece of copper wire that they cut.
Heisinger says they watched the property through this telescope set up in their window and have seen things that people would not believe.
That is every day, constantly, that we experience issues related to what goes on at that property.
He, like so many others in the area, want the city to step in and do something, like what the county did in 2013, filing a nuisance lawsuit against the owner of Fat Property. That type of lawsuit has the ability to force the owners to take action to mitigate the problems or face consequences. Ultimately, that 2013 suit was dropped, and from court records, it's unclear why.
I would like to see the city and this administration taking all available recourse and action to address the issues on this property.
Since she took office in 2020, Councilmember Abby Kamen has been working with people in the area to address the problems in the short term, but also find a long-term solution. She says she's reached out to various city departments roughly 20 times this year, requesting a formal investigation into 1901 Richmond.
It's not fair to Houstonians. It's not fair to residents in the neighborhood. It's not fair to the residents that live there.
ABC 13 spoke to Fat Properties Director of Operations, Star Epps, over the phone. She was out of town and not back in time for an on-camera interview, but we raised the concerns to her that residents and business owners raised to 13 Investigates. Epps said over the phone that they are, quote, plagued by outside forces, and her tenants are unfairly being labeled as criminals. She places blame on the bus stop outside of the property, bringing a transient population to the area. As it relates to the number of visits from police, she says that she's called them many times because of the people at the bus stop, but she could not quantify how many times. In a statement, she says, quote, "Your use of statistics and complaints from people who want to gentrify the area and rid themselves of certain individuals at best shames the residents and at its worst prejudices them in their own community. They really deserve more respect."
We also offered Epps a virtual interview, but she said she was not available. Since the lawsuit was filed, we heard from an attorney for Fat Property who said they do everything they can to protect their residents. Micah Hatfield, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.